Hi, I'm Chelsea from Chelsea Stratton Designs, and today I am here in my mom's sewing studio for week 4 of the All-American Sew Along, and it's exciting because we are going to go over our last block today, the Ohio Star block, and I have just loved doing this, so we're gonna go over that today and all the details. But just real quick, if you are new here or you're just still joining along, the pattern is available in the description below to buy, as well as the accountability PDF as well. But I'm excited to get started with our Ohio Star block, so let's get into it. Okay, so today's block that we are going to be going over from the All-American quilt pattern is the Ohio Star block. And in this block, you'll see that there are actually 4 Ohio stars in it that make the complete Ohio Star block. So we are going to learn how to make one Ohio star so that you can put your entire block together. And the way this starts is, if you have your pattern and you're following along, you need to make a half square triangle first. So just for example, I brought a couple of the squares that you need to start with. And what you're going to need to start with is a background square and a print square. So you are going to place the background square and the print square together. And I have a couple new tools to share with you all today. So this is, if everyone can see it, it's a perfect 1/2 inch Omnigrid ruler, and I love it because in the center it has the straight line for you. And so what you're going to do is corner to corner of your squares, just like this. And this is the reason I like the lines. It keeps everything lined up. And I just want to make sure that that's perfect. Okay, so it is. And I have one of my sew line pencils that Mom has. And what you're going to do is you're going to hold that flat, and I'm just going to draw my lines here. You're going to draw 2 lines, one on either side of this ruler. On the background preferred, that's how you're easily going to see it. All right, and this is perfect because it gives you the 2 lines that you need to sew on. So you have the 2 lines that you will be sewing on now using this, and it could be any ruler, but I really like this one from Omnigrid, and just a pencil that you have. My mom had the sew line one in her sewing room. And you are going to sew on the 2 drawn lines. And then once you're done sewing on the 2 drawn lines, you are going to trim 1/4 inch away from each line. And then it's going to give you, after you're done trimming it, your 2 half square triangles. So once you're done trimming that and sewing that together, you're going to have 2 half square triangles. Okay. So after you have made your 2 half square triangles, you need to put those together to make your first unit of your Ohio Star block. All right, so you have your 2 half square triangles. Now, if you're really, really visual, a tip that I have is you want to place them like, you want to put your print, if the print is down here in the bottom left corner for me, I want to put the print of the other half square triangle up in the top corner, because then we're going to draw a line again. So let me grab my Omnigrid ruler really quick. And now, if they're a little bit off, it doesn't matter because we're going to be trimming these afterwards. But same thing as with our half square triangle, I'm going to try to line these up really perfect. These are my mom's. Okay. Same thing, I'm going to set this Omnigrid ruler and make sure that they're perfectly down the corners. And it's a little bulky right here in the middle, so I always try to hold it really, really tight. And you are going to draw your next set of lines. And you're going to repeat the process for making your half square triangle. The same thing, mine was a little off, you guys. And you're going to sew on the 2 drawn lines, and then when you get back from the sewing machine, you're going to trim a 1/4 inch away, and you're going to have, let me grab my 2 pieces. After you do that, you are going to have your 2 1/4 square triangles. Now, I have something fun to show you guys. This is a new notion that my mom had in her sewing room. And this is from Fat Quarter Shop. It's called Kimberly Cuts Rotating Cutting Mat. I love this. And because it's like the perfect size for it, I'm gonna drop this down really quick. And I'm gonna show you guys how I use this to trim the 1/4 square triangle, because they all need to be trimmed down. And this is actually making it easier for you. So this is the Fit to be 1/4 2.5 inch ruler. And what I'm going to do is, it has an X on it. It has 2 lines. And I'm going to line that up in my center. So I need to make sure the center is on, and I need to make sure these diagonal lines are on there. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take this out of the safety, and I am going to trim this. And then what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to rotate it just like this. Is that so cool, you guys? I love that. So I don't have to flip the mat around. And I'm going to close this and put that away. And then I have my perfectly trimmed 1/4 square triangle. I thought that was really nifty. I had not used this small of a rotating cutting mat before, and it's perfect for these smaller ones. It just flips around. And so I love this Fit to be 1/4 ruler. And I do want to say really quick, my mom had these products at her house, so that's why I'm using them. She was showing me this morning how much she loved them. You do not need them to make this, the quilt pattern. Okay, so after you are done trimming your 1/4 square triangles, you are going to need, for 1 Ohio star block, you're going to need 4 1/4 square triangles. So you're going to need 4 of them. And you are going to need 4 background squares. And I love that my mom is using the Bountiful Blooms Tone on Tone Spring Dot. She's not just using a regular 200, but the colors match perfectly if you are using Bella 200. And then you need 1 matching print square. So you are going to place your, that wasn't right. All right, so you're gonna line them up just like this, your center square. And you are going to go to the sewing machine, and you're gonna sew. I do all in rows. So you need to do your top row, your center row, and I'm gonna show you the ironing in a minute on the final block, and your bottom row. And then you're gonna sew each of these top and bottom rows to the center row to make 1 Ohio star block. And you need 4 Ohio star blocks for 4 Ohio star units, I should say, to make the final block. And once you have those sewn together, you are going to have your final Ohio star block. Now, there's a couple things that I want to note. Is in the quilt pattern, you have 2 different prints in the whole block. So the greens are matching. You don't have to do it this way. This is just how I preferred it. And then the golds are matching in this as well. So you need 4 total of what we just made. And I want to talk about the ironing really quick, because my mom and I talked about this morning. When she sewed, because you sew you sew these 2, the gold and the green together, and then you sew the gold and the green, and then you sew them together in the middle. So what she did is she ironed the one way up at the top, and then the opposite way on the bottom row, because she wanted those seams to nest. But then she also did not want to create any excess bulk. So she actually pressed the middle seam open. And I liked that she did that on this one because I think it is going to decrease bulk, especially because this block has so many different things happening with it. And I love how my moms have like these perfectly like nested seams. They're awesome. She just killed it in the ironing department. But that's what she did, and I think that that's a good way to go on your pressing for this block since there's a lot happening in it. But you are going to make, it's 7. You're going to make 7 of these blocks in total, and that's it. That is the last block for this quilt, and probably the most technical one. It's obviously a lot more work because you have more trimming and a couple extra steps, but it's so cute, and I am really excited that we are on week 4 and that we got to go over this block together today. And since these blocks are going to be a little bit more time consuming, in 2 weeks we will have another video going over finishing instructions for the quilt. I want to give you guys some time to work on these. They take extra time. And also, if you're catching up on previous blocks as well, this gives you some time to finish those up too. So we will see you guys in 2 weeks with that finishing video. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed taking a closer look at how to piece the Ohio Star block from the All-American Quilt pattern. It is definitely uses a little bit more sewing techniques than the previous blocks, and I think that's why I enjoy sewing this quilt so much, as it's kind of a skill builder. If you are new here, know that we have the All-American Quilt pattern linked in the description below if you're still looking for that. And also the accountability PDF is linked in the description as well. And we are actually going to have a new video in 2 weeks on Thursday, the 14th, December 14th, for finishing instructions. And we'll talk about some possible backgrounds or if you wanted to change your border. And I'm excited to see you then to go over that with you all. Thank you so much for stopping by.